We've got Attack on Titan movie news, a Ubisoft smackdown, and super smart robots. Welcome to the Know-It-All. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Meg Turney. As always, we run you through the top news stories of the week. If you want any more information on a particular story, just click the annotation and we'll take you to the full update.
As per usual, let's kick it off with games. French politician Jean-Luc Mélenchon has attacked Assassin's Creed Unity, calling the game's depiction of the French Revolution a travesty and accusing developer Ubisoft of intentionally making the Reign of Terror look bloody and savage to suit a right-wing political agenda. Mélenchon, himself the founder of a far-left political group, so he definitely doesn't have an agenda of his own, further claims that the sympathetic depiction of the aristocracy, the treacherous Louis XVI, and the infamous Marie Antoinette is just plain propaganda, as is the presentation of the Reign of Terror's chief architect, Robespierre, as a monster. Because, you know, aside from praising terror as a virtue and guillotining everyone he could get his hands on, he was a really nice guy. Just misunderstood.
In the best bit of oh snap news we heard all week, Ubisoft creative director Alex Hutchinson took to Twitter to address criticism that the newly released Far Cry 4 didn't have a proper FOV slider. This led to several posts on Reddit, various forums, etc., and Hutchinson put that shit right to bed when he tweeted, "PC players, if you're online complaining about the lack of FOV control, you pirated the game." Amazing.
And sassy. At long last, Telltale has finally revealed Game of Thrones and offered a look at what we'll be seeing in the game. As the game is based on the show's universe rather than the books, many familiar characters will be extra familiar, as was indicated a few days ago by some screenshots that leaked showing characters like Natalie Dormer's Marjorie Tyrell, Peter Dinklage's Tyrion Lannister, and Lena Headey's Cersei. And Telltale has also revealed that the game will feature the voice talents of the cast too, or at least some of them. And they've detailed the first of 5 different characters you'll play in the game. Jared Tuttle, who's squire to Lord Forrester and has served him as Lord Forrester fought in the War of the 5 Kings. Meanwhile, Telltale has also announced a live event premiere for their other project, Tales from the Borderlands, in theaters and on Twitch on November 24th, so in just a couple of days, with the audience helping to make the critical choices as the first episode is played through live, which should be very interesting given the delay on Twitch streaming.
A new patch for Super Smash Bros. For 3DS was released this week, and what it did was kind of a mystery. Nintendo released the full patch notes, which said little more than, "This patch will make the game better," and instead of letting it go by the wayside, some in the Smash community decided to rake through the game and figure out each change individually. The biggest changes discovered thus far are Rosalina's pal Luma taking 5 full seconds longer to respawn, Bowser's side B now killing him before his opponent, and Pikachu getting buffs on several of his moves. Pika-pee!
Super Smash Bros. Creator Masahiro Sakurai has come out against paid DLC for Super Smash Bros. And warned fans not to expect any after the game's release, which is on Wii U today for North America. No popper?
No, I don't have any.
Okay.
I always have a popper.
Okay. November 28th in Europe, November 29th in Australia, and December 6th in Japan. So Japan's not beta testing this one for us. That is, of course, except there is actually some DLC that's already been announced. Mewtwo was previously revealed as a future character and will be free, if you can call it that, for those who buy the game on both 3DS and Wii U and register their games with Nintendo. However, Nintendo of Europe has confirmed that the Pokemon will also be made available later as a paid purchase. So, Sakurai, Nintendo, what is it they say?
Settle it in Smash!
I got her. Sears made an oopsie this past week when they mistakenly listed the price for their Nintendo 3DS XL and a Wii U bundle as $59.99 on their website. The store quickly realized their mistake and advised their in-store crew not to honor the flub, but many savvy shoppers took screenshots of the lower price to Walmart, which price matches their competitors, and got the goods on the cheap. Days later, scammers did something similar when they made a bogus listing on Amazon for a PS4 for $89.99. While Amazon fixed the fake listing right away, many people were able to use the listing to get the same deal from Walmart, something that will most assuredly force Walmart to alter their policy on price matching Amazon sellers. This is why we can't have nice things.
Sweden, home to fish, Mojang, and affordable self-assembled furniture, and potentially a lot of warning labels. The government's Agency for Innovation has commissioned a study into video games and specifically the depiction of female characters in games, as it considers whether there ought to be some kind of warning labels for games that contain sexist content. The study, inspired by the Bechdel test, which challenges the depiction of female characters in movies, aims to encourage gender equality and diversity by similarly scrutinizing the content of games and helping consumers who may want to steer clear of certain types of content. Whether they'll also take a hard look at those doodads in games as well hasn't been mentioned.
A new report from Electronic Entertainment Design and Research has shed new light on early access games and how many of them are being finished or, at least getting a full release, and determined that so far that number is an unflattering 25%. The study looked at the growth of Steam's early access program, which launched in March last year and grew from 103 games that year to 255 this year. Making allowances for games that may have just hit early access and looking only at games from that first period, the number goes up slightly to 33%, but still not a great number. While the report does not take into account the early access games that are still being faithfully updated, it does shed light on the growing problem of early access games fizzling out, leaving those who bought into the promise of the games high and dry.
For a full hour of discussion on the metric buttload of games that have just come out, make sure you check out this week's episode of The Patch. It's an all-gents game nerd-out lineup of Jack, Jeff, yes, Jeff, that Jeff, and Ryan, with more deep voices and facial hair than you can shake a stick at.
Or join us on the leaderboard, where we most assuredly bring up chocolate and mispronounce someone's name.
What is with you guys and chocolate? All right, now let's see what we've got going on in entertainment.
The first photos of the cast of the Attack on Titan movie in costume were released this week, and while some actors look very similar to their anime and manga counterparts, some designs took a left turn at Albuquerque. Most notably for me, Kanata Hongo, who plays Armin, has black hair instead of blonde. Now, I'm not making any judgments until I see a damn trailer, so I'm still cautiously optimistic.
We already know that the next Captain America movie, which will kick off the Civil War event, is going to get pretty dark, and that it will feature Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark as he comes into opposition against Cap over legislation requiring superheroes to register with the government. A recent announcement by Marvel has identified Daniel Brühl, who played German war hero Friedrich Zoller in Inglourious Basterds, as an antagonist for the next film, leading to new speculation as to just who he might be. But another report claims he won't be the villain. That honor will go to Frank Grillo, who played Rumlow in The Winter Soldier, as he becomes the well-known comic book villain Crossbones. As for Brühl, well, additional rumors claim he'll be taking the stage as the main villain in Doctor Strange, so speculate away as to who he might be.
A new trailer for the live-action Cinderella movie was released, and I played this little joke on Blaine where I made him talk at length about how hot Richard Madden, who plays Prince Charming in the film, is. And obviously Blaine doesn't think the King in the North is super dreamy, so I just want to take a chance to say I'm sorry. And I think actually we have Blaine nearby, so can we get a shot of Blaine, please?
Hey, Richard. Hey.
Blaine, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Aha! I knew it! No one can resist that hunk of man.
It was announced for like the 5th time, it seems, that G4 is officially going off the air. The network has been on a steady, very steep decline since 2012, when it both ended its flagship shows and announced it would be rebranded as Esquire TV. After some time, NBC Universal decided to rebrand the Style Network instead of G4, and G4 was left out in the cold. To the network that gave us Hot Sauce Shots and Kratos Jones, we salute you. Now, there are some protesters who are really unhappy with the fact that G4 is going to be finally going off the air, really diehard supporters, and we want to talk to those guys. Can we bring them up? So you're here protesting the shutdown of G4.
Yeah, I just want to let them know they still got a fan. This guy.
Oh.
This guy.
That is so sweet. How hard has this shutdown been on you personally?
So hard. I get by protesting, that's a lot of fun. It's kind of like bitching on the internet. But I get a sign, and I'm outside for once. So.
Where do you think you'll get your gaming content now?
Really anywhere, everywhere, really. We have the internet, so I do 10 gaming shows myself, actually.
Wow, 10 gaming shows. That is impressive.
Thank you.
But what G4 shows will you miss the most?
That's really hard to say.
Because there are so many?
No, it's more because I don't watch TV really anymore. So I have the internet, and I'm usually too busy recording myself playing video games, and then also watching other people record themselves play video games, that I really just don't have time to turn on TV and watch a show about video games.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't make any sense. Sorry, you know what? That last statement implied that I own a TV. I don't. I just want to be very clear. I don't even know what it is. That's the big iPad that's plugged into the wall? Right?
Kind of.
That sounds like it could be bad for G4. I don't know if I like that. I'll be back.
Ashley, I think there's only one way to celebrate G4's final resting.
No, absolutely not.
Come on, I did it.
Save it for a charity stream. Maybe for a charity stream, okay?
I'm gonna remember that. Please don't. If all that delicious hot sauce talk has whet your appetite for more sexy movie and TV talk, get my sexy voice out, hop over to our podcast Screenplay. This week we've got an interview with Natalie Dormer talking about The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, which is out today.
And spoiler warning, we do talk about the movie a little bit in the podcast, so make sure you go watch that and then watch Screenplay. It'll be a lot of fun. Now, let's finish off with the futurist of news, tech and science. A group of AI researchers have taken the fully mapped connectome or neural connection map of the 1mm nematode worm Cinerubditis elegans and mapped it into an object-oriented neuron program to replicate the way the worm's brain would automatically respond to stimuli. They then dropped it into a simple Lego robot and connected it to various sensory and motor neurons. That's super TLDR, but the end result is that without any further behavioral programming, the robot responded to external stimuli much the same way the worm itself would, moving away from contact against its nose or tail, navigating, and even seeking out food that it can eat.
Engineers at Stanford are either really big fans of Spider-Man, really big fans of Mission Impossible, or maybe really big fans of geckos. Either way, we all win. They developed a type of reptile-inspired adhesive that uses hair-like nanofibers to flatten out when pulled downward against a surface and stick via electromagnetic attraction. Science. The real trick, since people weigh so much more than geckos or bugs that find walls no big deal, has been getting an adhesive with enough strength and surface area, which the team solved by attaching the pads of micro-wedge adhesive with special springs that distribute weight almost perfectly. There are some limitations. The micro-wedges require a smooth surface like glass or metal or polished stone, and they won't work when wet, but still, it's open season for urban vigilante crime fighting, as long as it's not raining.
That's it for the Know-It-All this week, and just a heads up for next week, because of the holiday, we'll be doing the Know-It-All on Wednesday instead, and since that'll only be like 3 days of news, we're also going to go over all the Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals, so we can all get our game on for cheap.
And hopefully not get stabbed. We'll see you then. Hot sauce, let's do it.
No! Save it.
Drink it. Oh, it's all flaky.
Ew, gross!
Flake in my mouth.